If the Earth is flat, Pete,
Okay.
then there would be no measurable change in elevation. Q.
Okay.
Elevation is a measured change in the vertical axis, therefore not Q.
Therefore, Earth is not flat. And in maths, you can prove whatever you like. I'm saying it's not physics. That's all that I'm saying.
Yeah, so where does the proof of your flat Earth, where does that come into it?
You measure Earth as flat with a flat baseline to a ground position to start.
You can also prove a flat Earth by measuring angles. How useful for proving a flat Earth?
It's a measurement of a flat Earth. Okay, measuring things is not scientific. Yes, that's correct.
So what about the proof then, right? Does the proof of flat Earth that you have, does that lie within the bounds of science?
I will get triggered now because this is a dishonest prick.
Okay, measuring things is not scientific. Yes, that's correct.
Well, I was just wondering, when you were talking about proof of your flat Earth, is that the same proof as the proof that you were talking about with Jaren in science?
I answered the first two times. I said no. Twice. No.
I will
No.
get triggered now because this is a
Measuring
dishonest prick.
things like a flat baseline to a ground position to start. That's not scientific. That's a measurement. Science establishes
Should I
the
show you how
cause
it's
of an
possible,
effect.
mate?
That's the science we deal with. We deal with natural
By
science.
using scientific
And while
method
the knowledge can be put on the cover of a book as the science
prove the Earth
of
is flat.
ground position to start, here we specifically deal with natural
Should I show you how
science.
it's possible,
That's
mate?
the scientific method.
by using
There's the
scientific
distinction.
method to prove the Earth is flat.
And I'll agree with you. In maths, you can prove things in the maths. The maths itself is an abstract language. Whereas physics, that's science and the scientific method, is dealing with the physical. It's the difference between science, physics, the physical, and maths, which
Should I
is
show
an
you how it's
abstract
possible,
language
mate?
to describe things. Now, if you're saying you can prove things with maths, 1 + 1 = 2. Ground position. Proof. To start.
And you were equal to, you've had one plus the other one. I can accept that that's proof.
Ground position. Maths. To
No.
start. In physics, it isn't proof.
Should I
because
show
it
you how it's
isn't
possible,
physics.
mate?
Physics is the
By
physical.
using scientific method to prove the Earth
Okay,
is
again,
flat.
I can use the scientific method to prove the Earth is flat. Not the Earth is flat because of scientific method. There's a difference. Shape is not science, but I can use method, the scientific method, to show that it is flat.
Ground position. To start.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
I got your numbers, they're right here.
Yes, that's correct.
It's just as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Sphere, not see
You
thing.
have to open your mind.
Flat, I see thing.
Imagination is all you need.
You do know science is also
Don't
deductible.
take advice from fools.
That is a fact.
Everything that they say is in vain.
This is a flat Earth proof.
Yes, that's correct.
Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
Should I show you how it's possible, mate? By using scientific
Yes,
method
that's correct.
to prove the Earth is flat.
An Earth was proved to be flat by these measurements.
So we would assert that that average is how average the level of level is. It's flat. There it is. That's how we use it.
The deviation from that reference means it isn't flat.
Everything is relative to you.
I will get triggered now because he's a dishonest
You
prick.
just have to say
Yes, that's
it.
correct.
Generality.
It's a what is
Just
your
like those straight lines of curves.
Means it isn't flat.
Yes, that's correct.
Drive down the road, don't you ever.
The elevation changes make the Earth not flat.
Third, then, it's a stupid argument. So this is a flat Earth proof.
All of this goes.
Don't report to FED or no one. I am my own person. I am my own person.
Yes, that's correct.
Everything that they say is in
By using scientific method to prove the Earth is flat.
Never take advice from fools.
To prove the Earth is flat.
That they do is in vain.
Don't report to FED or no one. I am my own person.
What's your observed phenomenon for a flat Earth?
Did I say flat Earth was my observed phenomena, or did I say I can use scientific method to prove it's flat? Huh.
Okay, what's your observed phenomenon? to prove that it's flat?
I see too far. How's that?
I know the game that you're playing,
You want to know, Jason?
and I know exactly what's on your mind.
Nah, I'm just letting the FED crew know
You
that
got your playbook, it's alright.
their lapdog needs more
Your
training
model dictates what you will find,
because you're an idiot.
and I don't know
Okay, what's your observed phenomena to prove that it's flat?
where all of this goes.
I see too far. How's that?
Don't take advice from fools.
Because you're an idiot.
Everything that they say is in vain.
I'm manipulating my position.
Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
Do I manipulate my position when I manipulate my position? Do I manipulate my position when I manipulate my position?
What does your position have to do with the shape of the Earth?
You have an angle towards this.
You can also prove a flat Earth by measuring angles.
Observe, which is
How
already
useful
too far
for
to
proving a
see.
flat Earth.
Now that is scientific fact. There's no real evidence for it, but it is scientific fact.
The rebuttal is actually a straw man. And that's, why I want to clarify, because I think that's worth pointing out, that the rebuttal was a straw man. Nowhere in the argument is the words level plane even mentioned. Topography is not mentioned. And it's only about the elevation change, which is a measured change on the vertical datum. There is no conflation between baseline and topography in the argument. It's just a simple if-then argument about elevation change. And obviously the Earth is not flat because of elevation change. That's what the argument is about. I mean, we can read it out, the entire if-then, again, if it's needed.
Read me one more time, just so I can hear it again. Sorry, say it one more time.
If the Earth is flat, Pete,
Okay.
then there would be no measurable change in elevation. Q.
Okay.
Elevation is a measured change in the vertical axis, therefore not Q.
Therefore, Earth is not flat.
But the refutation to the argument being that there's some sort of conflation going on between a baseline and topography is just a straw man, because that's not the case for anybody who actually reads the argument. That's my point.
Well, it's not an argument because you're convoluting the baseline from which you will measure, which is your mean sea level. You're convoluting that with the topology you're trying to measure. So it's not an argument. Just you're misusing words.
And me stating the fact that mean sea level is a point on a vertical datum and not a level plane is just a statement of fact. Mean sea level is not a level plane, it's simply a point on a vertical datum. That's all.
Yes, but it's not a level. You don't understand that. What you just said.
Stupid non-argument, you stupid bonehead!
Okay, again, I can use the scientific method to prove the Earth is flat. Not the Earth is flat because of scientific method. There's a difference. Shape is not science, but I can use the scientific method, to show that it is flat.
Why do we have to listen to this incessant verbal diarrhea with the verbatim repetition of it? Merge it!
Just be patient, guys. This happened before.
Well, I was just wondering, when you were talking about proof of your flat Earth, is that the same proof as the proof that you were talking about with Jared in science?
I answered the first two times. I said no. Twice.
You don't understand.
Earth is not flat.
You don't understand.
Earth is not flat.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
Where's the science for a stationary Earth? Okay, way to demonstrate that you don't understand what science is without saying you don't understand what science is. Because science deals with cause and effect relationships. Though natural science, that's the study of the physical and natural world, is what we are dealing with here on Flat Earth Debate. Now that is exclusively the singular scientific method. That is exclusively illuminating the cause of naturally occurring phenomena. So when you say, what's the science for stationary Earth?
Should I show you how it's possible, mate?
Okay. You're so used to being told that you can prove concrete nouns with science.
By using scientific method to prove the Earth Earth is flat.
Prove concrete nouns with science, do you expect us to adhere to that non-standard?
Not the Earth is flat.
Earth is not flat. Earth is not flat.
Not the Earth is flat.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn.
Because of scientific method. Shape is not science, but I can use the scientific method to prove the Earth is flat.
You can prove concrete nouns with science, do you expect us to adhere to that non-standard? It's not a cause and effect relationship that you're asking about. So when you say flat Earth...
Should I show you how it's possible,
measuring
mate?
things is not scientific. Yes, that's correct.
By using scientific method to prove the Earth is flat.
That's not something happening. That's not an occurrence. That's not a phenomenon. You're not going to get an IVDV relationship.
Do I manipulate my position when I manipulate my
It's
position?
absurd to ask us for the science of flat Earth.
You can use method, the scientific method, to show that it is flat.
No, you can ask for the measurements of flat Earth, the geometry of flat Earth.
Okay, measuring things is not scientific. Yes, that's correct.
The practical application of flat Earth, you can ask for all those things and we can provide them.
You don't understand.
Earth is not flat.
Not the Earth is flat.
You don't understand.
Not the Earth is flat.
Earth is not flat.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn.
To a ground position.
Just on your own.
But asking for the science of a concrete noun demonstrates you don't understand what science is.
To a ground position.
No reason,
To start.
no logic,
Ground
no
position.
wisdom,
To start.
no worries.
Elucidating the cause of an effect, and the
You're
effect
just on your own.
exclusively natural. Only natural.
Does that lie within the bounds of science?
To question.
No. Ground position. To
You're just
start.
on your own.
So what about the proof then, right? Does the proof of flat Earth, does that lie within the bounds of science?
No.
Well, it's not an argument because you're convoluting the baseline from which you will measure, which is your mean sea level. You're convoluting that with the topology you're trying to measure. So it's not an argument. Just you're misusing words.
What does that have to do with the shape of the Earth?
Sphere, not see thing. Flat, I see thing. I will get triggered now because this is on a brick. You can use the scientific method to prove it's flat. Flat itself is not a science. You want to know how I can use science to prove it's flat? Have you ever thought of that? How would you do it?
Was that your proof?
What?
Are you going to try and plug your shit on my channels?
No, I don't want to do that.
Lost, if you're telling me you're going, I didn't thank you in return, you noticed.
Yeah. Keep watching Nathan Oakley. And we are live. Welcome everyone. It is what day is it? It's Wednesday. Hump day. I didn't know what to do, but we've got this sort of, it's an argument. I'm trying to just test it out, right, to see how it goes. This is goes back to our Euclid days, to the logic. So this is the new argument. You see it on screen. Let me get it. Let me get it bigger for you. I came up with this just over the last few days when I heard the flat Earth guys, right? Now, they were saying that they're synonyms, and I've heard QE say this as well. You know, flat, horizontal, level, they're all synonyms. So this is a rebuttal to the what I'm calling the synonym argument. Now, it's sort of a checkmate. I don't know why or how they managed to put themselves in this position. But the argument goes like this. It says, if level, horizontal and flat are synonyms, P, then flat and vertical are antonyms, Q. Now, I've not finished this argument. I mean, it can be made into a modus ponens or modus tollens. I mean, I think people understand, you know, the basis of these two different ways of furthering the if P then Q statement at the beginning. So first off, let's go over the form of the argument. If P then Q, like Emma says, mind your P's and Q's. So that's where we start first. Well, first off, we make sure that we understand what all of the words mean. So synonyms, I'll put it on the argument there. First things first, yeah, the identity of all of the things. So I take it everybody understands what level, horizontal, and flat. They don't really need describing. And so synonym. A synonym is one of two or more words or expressions of the same language that have the same or nearly the same meaning in some or all senses. Now, if anybody else has got a different definition of what a synonym is, it goes to the grammar. They're words that are similar or the same meaning, really. Yeah. And obviously, an antonym is the opposite. It's a word of opposite meaning. So, if level, horizontal, and flat are synonyms, which means they're the same thing with respect to it, we can then say, or I'd say, we can then say flat and vertical must be antonyms, because vertical is an antonym to horizontal and vertical or plumb is an antonym to level.
Which is absurd if we take that synonym.
Yeah, see, it's not as absurd as you think. I mean, it may sound absurd, right? But this is within the dictionary. This is within the language of modern day speak.
I didn't express this clearly. If we take that flat and vertical are synonyms, as they should be, that would be absurd.
Yeah.
Because if horizontal and flat are synonyms, and flat and verticals are synonyms, it means that different orientations are the same. And this is even more absurd.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons when we said at the beginning, we don't have arguments dealing with flat. Putting flat into an argument, it's going to be an automatic fail. So don't add flat to any of your arguments. They just won't work and you'll be proved wrong. And this is one of those cases. Now this, I think, is let's call it an ideal introduction to what we call, and we've gone through it a few times, an antinomy. And obviously an antinomy is a follow on from an antonym. Antonym. It's a derivative of that, but it's a further logical complication. I don't know how to explain it really, because you're dealing with like a trick of the mind here. So, taken as that argument, it would mean that flat and vertical are antonyms. And what would you say if I said the dictionary says they are? You can check this out for yourself. Horizontal and vertical are antonyms. And through this chain of events and word linkage, you can find that vertical is an antonym for flat. I don't know who, if anybody wants to take this on, because your brain shuts down whenever you get this. It's been right there in front of you all the time. Flat earthers have been saying it. But this is a grammar thing. It's not like an argument for flat earth or an argument for globe earth. This is just a pure grammar situation. And dictionaries connect the modern usage of all of these words. So if you say that level, horizontal and flat are synonyms, which dictionaries do, dictionaries also have to say that flat and vertical are antonyms, which leaves the person who enters the argument with level, horizontal and flat are synonyms in a position that all people have to do is show vertical, and that ruins flat. It's an antonym. You can say it's not flat because vertical is an antonym for flat, and we do have vertical, so therefore cannot be flat. In the presence of vertical, there is no flat. It also leaves you in a position that a vertical plane is an oxymoron. And imagine where that would keep you within an argument. Imagine that. Imagine going into an argument with a synonym and finding out that vertical planes are non-existent due to your own inability to grasp grammar. People have told me that this argument is a non sequitur. That was on Nathan Oakley's show today. Tried to get a bit of a chat going with anyone.
For me, this modus ponens is example why you shouldn't use words in different meaning, and it is not allowed to do that, because if we have this word flat, so if someone says that flat means orientation and horizontal orientation, it means that he is using that as description of orientation and not visual surface. Let's say, yes, so it is not about visual surface, but orientation. But we know that flat means visual also. So it means, but you are not allowed to use in two different meanings.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about a synonym for level and horizontal here in this argument. When they make this argument, they say they're synonymous. So you're taking the meaning of flat to be synonymous with level and horizontal, not a plane. I think that's where they've missed out here.
Yes, and that's it. It is not allowed because two different meaning means that because you can say that some people say, and even the dictionary says that flat may mean orientation, horizontal. So yes,
Yeah,
horizontal
that's
orientation.
what this argument that they make. That's what they do. They're linking flat to orientation.
Okay, but with vertical, it cannot mean horizontal orientation. So it means that it has to mean visual condition. Let's say.
Well, see, if you take flat out of it, then level and horizontal are synonyms, and level and horizontal are antonyms to vertical.
Yes.
No problem.
Yes, I agree.
At all. The only problem is the injection of flat into it, because that brings in complications. Like
yes.
sort of checkmate complications, because there's two ways out, isn't there? It's a modus ponens or it's a modus tollens.
It is modus ponens.
Well, no, if you say yes, level and horizontal and flat are synonyms, then flat and vertical have to be antonyms.
Yes,
right? But if you say, well, flat and vertical aren't really antonyms, because you can have a vertical plane, which would be flat. And so that can't be an oxymoron, because it's possible, right? A vertical plane is not. So I'd say that's a modus tollens in that case, in which case then you would say there has to be a problem with level, horizontal and flat being synonyms. There's your modus tollens. Right?
No, I disagree. It is modus ponens.
Well, no, it is a modus ponens if you say level, horizontal and flat are synonyms and then point to a dictionary, right, as your proof for level, horizontal and flat being synonyms. But flat can be vertical too. So therefore, can it be an antonym? Like a flat wall, right?
Yes,
is an antonym, right? It's a oxymoron.
That would be, but in fact it is not, because
no. So therefore, you have to make it a modus tollens, don't you? And say there's a problem with your P statement.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have to deny Q. So if you deny Q, so you cannot say that. So flat and vertical are not antonyms, because they are not, of course. Flat and vertical are not antonyms. In fact, this is reality. So you are denying Q, and by denying Q, you are denying P. And that would be a modus tollens. Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's up to people however they want to take this. This is just an if P, then Q. Right now, because of the way it's set up, and it's set up with the antonym because they're using synonyms to base the argument on, it leads us into antinomies. Oh, wait a minute, let me get this here, right? So if you Google, do whatever you want, go and research the opposite of vertical, you will find a list of things that people are ready to write out. And some of these things, remembering this is modern day discussion, this is what it's all about. You're talking with people about things. These are the opposite of vertical. Now, I've underlined a few. What do you reckon to that list? It says flat is the opposite of vertical.
Yes, and it would mean that this meaning of flat is horizontal.
And plane? What about that? A plane is the opposite of vertical.
For me, this is very strange.
Well, that's the same as flat, isn't it? I mean, if you have flat as the opposite of vertical, why not have plane the opposite as vertical? I mean, horizontal and level, yes, definitely. But what about straight? Are you happy with that? Straight is the opposite of vertical.
No, for me, this is just...
It's all right. It's got bent there as well.
For me, this is not all right.
Got both straight and bent being the opposite of vertical. It's all right. It's in a dictionary. Must be. People can Google it and check it for yourself. I mean, where do you want to trust? Do you want to trust the dictionary for your synonyms? Or are you going to like cast a bit? What about that? Parallel is the opposite of vertical. Lying. Dishonest.
Okay, but this is like vertical, but this is opposite of standing. So lying would be opposite of standing. Okay. Bent, I don't know why bent is opposite of standing. Cannot
They've heard
see
of
connection.
horizontal circles, haven't they? Horizontal planes, horizontal spherical planes. It depends what sort of geometry you're going with. I mean, doesn't seem to be a Euclidean type of logic, does it? Like, what's derived that a plane is the opposite of vertical? How did
And
they
by
get
the
there?
way, this is another, for me, this is another, let's say, something not logical, because or moving straight up or down, and opposition to moving straight up or down would be straight.
Yeah.
This is not complete nonsense.
It's modern day terminologies, isn't it? It's 2023. I mean, like you've been talking to people. You know what people are like in modern day times. Wouldn't make sense if this just made sense, would it? You've got to really screw people's minds up when you're doing with this sort of stuff. Here we are trying to make a coherent argument with a if-then, with a P and a Q statement. And you think it sounds quite good, but then you realise that, if you take dictionaries for synonyms and stuff, you can land yourself into a whole heap of trouble.
Yes, and by the way, even if something is in dictionary, it doesn't mean that you can just cherry pick anything from that dictionary, because some words are used in some or certain contexts. So it sounds stupid that you can say that moving straight up or down is opposite to straight. It doesn't make any sense. So I would say that in some context you can pick up some word from that dictionary, but to make sense, not just any, that you are free to go. Whatever you pick up, that would be all right. No. I would say that dictionary does not allow to do that. It's just a variety of different words that may mean the same thing in certain context, but not always. That's why, for me, it doesn't make any sense to have flat and horizontal as opposition to vertical. That would be nonsense. That would be nonsense. So if we are talking about things like surveying or geometry, flat is completely redundant. And as we can see, you shouldn't use that.
Well, why do you think they've added this non-word, right? It's like Nathan Oakley does. He says a flat plane, right? Is flat needed within that synonym list, like we said at the beginning? Like level and horizontal are in opposition to vertical. That's a true statement. Why do you think flat was put there? For what purpose?
I don't know, because still for me it doesn't make any sense. I would say horizontal plane. Why flat plane?
Well, horizontal goes without saying that it's a line or plane, right? You don't really need to say plane, and for the same reason you don't really need to say flat, but they've put flat in there. What purpose do you think they've done that? Look, see, price of Adam's in here as well. That's the synonym they gave him. QE gave you that, Adam. That's your shadow giants handed you a piece of shit.
But
again,
in this dictionary, opposition of vertical is flat and plane.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that flat and plane are the same.
And it puts in opposition to vertical, which is ridiculous.
Yes, because of course vertical plane can be. So you can have vertical plane, obviously.
Yeah. Vertical planes do exist. Therefore, flat or plane cannot be in opposition to vertical. That's ridiculous. Adam's in the chat. Good to hear you again, Adam. Ask Bev how that's going. Like what's going, Adam? You've been you along with Paula were the ones that said that this is a non sequitur. But you can't say that the antonym is a non sequitur to a synonym. That's ridiculous. A straight line, Adam. That's a straight line in the horizontal position. If you just drew it on a piece of paper, then it's not horizontal. You can't call it a horizontal line if it's not in the horizontal position. All we're asking for here, Adam, and we're trying to help people out through clarity of argument, the words, the grammar. That's what this is. It's not an argument for flat earth, and it's not an argument for globe earth. This is an argument for grammar to help people understand the basics. The beginning, the trivium starts with grammar, the identity of things. This is a simple mind your P's and Q's. And it tells you and it shows you how to mind your P's and Q's. So this is where it gets interesting. Because an antinomy, made famous by Kant, Immanuel Kant, is, I mean, it goes back to Greece. It goes back to the ancient Greece, Socrates and the day when logic was pure, without the sophists. Well, there were sophists, obviously, but they'd have to be much better trained than Adam, price of Adam and that sort of stuff. So it says an antinomy, a contradiction between two apparently equally valid principles, or between inferences correctly drawn from such principles. Or two, a fundamental and apparently unresolvable conflict or contradiction. Unresolvable. That's right, isn't it, Adam? We have here, because you've used synonyms within an argument, you've forgotten about the antonyms, and so far you've ended up with an antinomy. An unresolvable conflict. I know how to do it. You just stop using flat. Take flat out of that argument and it makes sense. Keep flat in it, you've got an antinomy. Unresolvable conflict that you can't solve because flat's going to be kept within the argument. You've lost. He's doing the up-down thing crazy. Vertical, Adam, isn't up or down. It's vertical. Horizontal isn't left or right or forwards or backwards. That's not how this works, Adam. But many people have to go through this sort of thing of understanding. This is the grammar that we're dealing with. The identity of the subjects. Yeah, you can't solve it, Adam. You're trapped in an antinomy. Read it. It's on the screen.
And another error is here that even Baby was talking about that. You cannot create illicit minor. You can say that man is an animal, but you cannot say that animal is a man. It means that's why there is difference between subject and object and predication, between species and genus. So horizontal in this example is just a plane in some position, but flat is more general than horizontal plane, because horizontal plane is specific orientation, and a description of flat is about plane, not orientation. That's why you can say that plane is flat, and some planes may be horizontal, but it doesn't mean that all planes have to be horizontal. If you say so, you are creating illicit minor, because orientation is just one of many orientations, and plane can have all orientations. And because plane and flat, I can say that plane and flat are the same. I have no problem with that. Because
I've always said that flat is the because a plane is a geometric term, like Euclid said, he allowed people to do that. Well, flat is the real word. Like level is the reality of horizontal. Plumb is the reality of vertical. Well, flat is the reality of a plane. That's the only reason it's been made. But I can't see why it got put into this argument, other than for QE to associate it to the flat, right? But other than that, I don't get it. Unless people were wondering whether level and horizontal were a plane and they had to tag something in just to let people know that it was.
For me, if you can equivocate flat and plane, it means that horizontal belongs to flat. It is part of flat in that sense, and part cannot be a whole. So because within flat there are all orientations.
Yeah, can I just address Adam? Adam, I'm not trying to try and change the term flat earther. Like, you can call yourself whatever you want. Just pointing out the flaws in a synonym argument. You will end up in trouble. End up in an antinomy. That's not good in an argument.
Also, can we just pick up on that? So what does flat earther mean, right? So if you say to someone, what do you think flat earther stands for, means, right? Someone who thinks the earth is flat, right? That's it. That is your description, right, of a flat earther. Someone who thinks it. You can add in all the little other caveats and stuff, but that's not what it means, right? You're pushing this word flat.
Saying
it's ridiculous.
Logic and trying to push anti-logic isn't so much fun. Well, don't try and push anti-logic, Adam. I don't know what you're doing. You're just paralogizing exactly what QE tells you to. That's not logic, Adam. Think for yourself, man.
I would say even that term flat earther is even more nonsensical, because subject is earther. So who? Earther. And flat is description of earther, not earth. So it means that this earther is flat. So if Adam is flat earther, it means that Adam is flat. This is description of flat earther, because earther is a person. So flat describes this person. So if Adam says that he is flat earther, it means that Adam is flat, which is absurd, of course. But this is what this term flat earther means. So to make it from that, that flat earther is proponent of flat earth, it is slightly convoluted, because in description of that flat earther is just saying about person.
Yeah, Adam's taking it on that flat is an orientation. And you can't prove an orientation. No. That's fucking ridiculous, Adam.
No,
really stupid.
It cannot be orientation, even if it is in dictionary. But this is, for me, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, he's trying to say you prove flat. Now, I don't know who he's talking about. Maybe just one of those random things that he does. But Adam is one of these ones that he's a super YouTube chat guy. Especially over there with Nathan Oakley and QE and all of them. He's like a religious follower of the Flat Earth debate crew. And he's been handed this pretty awful argument. And it does look like, Adam, when you're talking, it looks like you think flat is an orientation. You think it's the same as level and horizontal.
It cannot be a synonym of this particular orientation.
You're not an enemy, Adam. Oh, This is so bad. Such a victim.
This is
Adam.
this is like
Yeah.
your
Oh,
team,
look how
my
bad am
team.
I?
I've picked a team. Just for everyone a little bit of context here, right? Adam is the one that will sit in other YouTube channels. Bev or anybody from here goes there, types anything, and Adam is one of the ones that will pipe up and talk shit at you because right, you don't think the same way as the rest of his herd or his team. So now he's coming in here and, well, I don't know what he's trying to do. I mean, maybe he is starting to actually question it. That's what you should be doing, Adam. You should be thinking for yourself. Stop looking for truth and then stopping when you think someone has just handed it to you. Because nobody can hand it to you. You got to go out and figure it out for yourself, not sit in a YouTube chat going, oh my God, Nathan Oakley and QE, you're so cool, man. They're not. Do you not know Nathan's background? Do you not know he's actually got like a presenter, actor background? Right? And he's obviously told everybody up front he does this for the money. He went into it for the money. Like a lot of them. You got to go out there, do it all for yourself, Adam.
Support Nathan Oakley. He needs it.
Apparently so. We're not anti anyone. I'm anti pick a fucking team and go along with whatever the team says.
I'm
right?
anti people bullshitting other people and getting away with it. That's what I don't like.
Yeah.
Just simply.
Yep.
Logic says that if flat is horizontal, so if flat means orientation, this specific orientation, which is horizontal, and opposition of horizontal is vertical, obviously, it means that vertical cannot be flat. And this is absurd. So if
you can't
someone
have a flat wall, that's it. Like, not that you can't have it, it's just not possible.
Yeah, it is impossible, and this impossibility is absurdal.
Mm-hmm.
So this is reductio ad absurdum.
Well, to you, but to Adam, it's an antinomy because he can't give it up. He has to keep flat within that argument.
Yes, that's why this modus ponens it creates absurdal consequence. This consequence, this Q, is absurdal. But it is inevitable conclusion. This is consequence of P. So if flat means orientation, horizontal orientation, inevitable consequence of that is that vertical cannot be flat. This is consequence. You cannot avoid that. And of course, this consequence is absurdal. It means that cannot be true. So we can disprove antecedent, this P statement. So because Q is absurdal, therefore premise or antecedent has to be nonsense, cannot be true.
Or at least attempt an argument, Adam. Come on. Let's get a rebuttal to that. Give us a reason to prove that they are, other than saying a dictionary says it. Well, if a dictionary lands you in an absurdity, then are you going to trust the dictionary? Just accept the absurdity because the dictionary said it? It's sort of an enthymeme, isn't it? Anyway, really.
I don't blame dictionary because you can use these words in some context. It is allowed, but you have to be specific. But in that modus ponens, you cannot use these meanings in dictionary because you will create absurd. So it's not good for making argument.
Yeah, Adam says he's just rebutting it again, like parroting shadow giants. But that you realise, Adam, that what you're saying there lands you in an absurdity. You cannot then go on to have a vertical plane. It's just not possible. So you've made an argument for yourself that you've messed yourself up. And like it's a terrible position for you to enter a debate with. Not just here, just anywhere. In any discussion, anywhere. And just shouting at people, calling them stupid and telling them to unsubscribe from you isn't a normal rebuttal in everyday life, because that's what we're talking about here, is how do you talk to people? I think this is well worthwhile.
I would say that this is the same problem as it was with this modus tollens from quantum eraser. Because if in that modus tollens, it was if the Earth is a sphere with radius, so we have two predications. We have subject being a sphere, first predication, and predication to predication. The same thing is here, because if level, horizontal, and flat are synonyms, and horizontal, I would add plane, because we are talking about plane.
In this one here, in the opposite of vertical, it has plane, so.
Yeah, so it has to be plane. So, and we know that plane can be vertical. So,
well, we know that. Maybe Adam doesn't. Maybe his argument has took that away. Because you know who else can't have a vertical plane?
But in dictionary, flat and plane are there.
Yeah, but the dogmatic globe can't have a vertical plane either. Maybe that's for a similar reason. Maybe that's what Adam's doing. Maybe Adam's sort of got a dogmatic globe model in his mind where he can't have a vertical plane. It's hard to tell nowadays because, I mean, everybody can do whatever they want, really, can't they? It is 2023. I mean, Adam's allowed to think that there's no vertical planes, isn't he? I mean, he has to, because his argument states that there are no vertical planes in opposition to each other.
Okay, if we have these three words, horizontal, flat, and plane, only one word is opposition to vertical, only horizontal.
No, level's in opposition to vertical also.
And level, okay. Yeah. But I am talking about, okay, let's take four. Horizontal, level, flat, and plane.
Yeah.
So only horizontal and level are in opposition to vertical, because these descriptions, horizontal and level, are talking about orientation. Flat is not talking about orientation, and plane is not talking about orientation. That's why flat and horizontal are not the same.
Maybe Adam is like QE, and he's given an orientation to flat and plane. Perhaps. Right? There can't be a vertical plane because plane means horizontal, like flat means horizontal and level. Is that right, Adam? I mean, it is QE's argument, right? That QE's passed on to you and you're just taking it on as a paralogism, right? You think it's a real argument. Unfortunately, yes, QE has a shit track record making arguments. This is just another example of that. But
Yes,
we
and
as people
this,
don't want to hear horizontal level planes. We hear flat. Yeah, because you're a flat earther, Adam. Like, you hear
yes, and
something it isn't and misplace the word flat. That's
yes,
your problem.
this is called fallacy of misplaced concreteness, because flat and horizontal in this context cannot be the same, because flat is more general and horizontal is more specific. So they belong to different categories, let's say, because horizontal belongs to orientation and flat belongs to, this is property of any plane.
Can I
This
just
flat.
address this? Wait a minute. Adam, kids wouldn't understand contradictions. Don't give kids contradictions to deal with. They've got a tough enough fucking time as it is.
Yeah,
Fill
he
their
took it
heads
from
with
my
nonsense.
he took it from my point where I said basically kids use flat to describe things, right? It's a kind of, it's what kids use. Oh, look at that, that's flat as a pancake. You know, it's the, when you get to adulthood, you have a much broader vocabulary that covers everything. You don't need to use flat
Adam,
at
no,
all.
that's wrong. He said, give a kid a level, tell him to make a level building. He'll say, what's that mean? You'll say flat along with this, along this kind of line. No, Adam, no. You've obviously never been in the building profession, right? You don't seem to understand what flat means. You think
by the
But
way,
it's
he is,
got an orientation. He's
yeah,
taking
but
it
he
on
is
from QE. Sorry, go on.
yeah, but he's saying, using the kid things, right? He's talking to a kid. And fine, yes, that's what I'm saying. Kids use flat, but when you're a grown up, Adam, right? You no longer need to explain it. You can use all of the stuff. You've got the straight, like you've got all the geometry, you've got all of the builders out there that build a wall. I don't ever hear them going on about flat walls.
and by the way, there is a building and called flat. Someone, I live in flat, let's say, someone says. So we know what
Yeah,
he's saying. And of course, this flat means that the walls are flat. That's why this building is called flat, because it is covered by glass mostly, and it looks flat. But this is vertical plane, not horizontal. And this is the reason why the building is called flat. Not because it lies flat on the ground. No, it is it is supposed to be very tall. So it means that flat does not mean orientation in architecture, let's say. So
Well,
for me,
I'd
it's
say,
quite opposite.
look, the idea of the antinomy is to let people know that there seems to be apparently equally valid principles, right? Now, obviously, Adam thinks that there is equally valid, right? It's equally valid to say that level and horizontal are synonymous to flat, but it's also equally valid to say that a vertical wall is flat, right? Now that may seem equally valid, but within this particular argument, it's an antinomy.
Yes, that's why apparently also may mean allegedly. So apparently, but not truly. So that's the difference. It appears to be equal, but it is not. And it is not because it is illicit minor. As I said before, plane is more general and orientation is more specific. so you cannot confuse species with genus. So if we have, let's say, more general statement about plane that is flat, and we can, let's say, equivocate flat and plane, that wouldn't be wrong, but orientation is just one of orientations that plane can exist. And you cannot equivocate one of infinite number of orientation as description. That is illicit minor. You cannot do that because you will land in absurd. Like saying that man is an animal, it is true, but you cannot inverse that. You cannot change, invert predications. You cannot say that animal is a man because you are creating illicit minor. The same thing is this with this plane and flat and horizontal. You can have plane and all planes. You can say all planes are flat, but you cannot say all planes are horizontal. This is just not true statement. But this is what you have to say if you say that horizontal and flat means the same. That planes can be only in this orientation. This is just logic.
That's the problem, isn't it? Because it's the flat that you're thinking of is a direct representation of what you think a plane is. It's a geometric understanding. Like when people say a level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference, right? Well, that isn't flat. That plane that you're doing is just a measurement on a measuring rod and looking through an eyepiece on a level. It's as geometric as a plane is. It's just not there. So you can't call that flat because flat is a visual descriptor.
Yes, but I would say that you can equivocate flat with plane because
yes, geometrically, but not like that's flat, because you can't do that with a plane.
Yes, I agree, but still we are talking about predication of the plane, which is redundant, but you are not at least you are not creating this illicit minor, because it is different category, because orientation is that would be category of position of this thing. If we have plane as a thing, and this thing, this plane is in certain position, so we are in category of position. But if we are talking about plane as being flat, we are talking about quality. So there are different categories. You cannot confuse them. It's just nonsense. And I am talking, of course, about Aristotelian categories. So, because this fallacy of misplaced concreteness, this is called in that way in English, but this is from Aristotle. This is just confusing categories, which is forbidden in logic. You cannot confuse categories.
I would say flat is a visual descriptor and not, I would have and not an orientation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Different thing.
But other people may say differently, right? That's where the idea of the discussion, to make these arguments, that surely if anybody had a rebuttal to it or whatever, they should be able to make their own argument in rebuttal to this, not just say, no, that's not an argument. they should be able to rebut it. And I never see that actual rebuttal to the argument. Just hear name calling stuff. You're just trying to hope that people get their idea of how to form an argument correctly. I've always said there is no arguments within this arena. There's never a flat earth argument and there's never a globe earth argument. You just have to deal with what you've got. And what we have here is a way to say this argument here has a flaw. And the flaw is that the conclusion to it, if you follow it through as a modus ponens, is that vertical planes are an oxymoron.
Yeah, which is absurd. So it means that we proved opposite.
You end up within an antinomy if you take the argument. Now, I don't know whoever's handed out this argument to somebody. Well, I do. It was QE that I heard this argument first. It was QE that I heard the first time, because I've been in this arena talking to flat earthers and globe earthers for quite a while, and it was only on one of the encounters that QE, it jogged in my mind that QE actually realized or thinks that flat is an orientation. Much the same as what Adam's doing here. Like this argument makes flat a synonym for an orientation, a particular orientation, horizontal, which leaves you in that position where you're not able to follow through with an argument or conduct yourself in any way, because I don't think it can be defended. But Adam's doing the best job of anybody. I don't think anybody else would do better than Adam. QE definitely wouldn't try, and Nathan Oakley would just pretend that they didn't hear it.
I would say that it is not usable within argument. I can agree that some people can say that flat may mean yes, horizontal, that something is lying flat. Okay, I understand that, but not within geometrical statements, or even like a proof for flat earth. You have to be more precise than that. You cannot use that popular meaning of words because you will land in absurd. You have to be always be more specific, especially if you are using this terms, like geometrical terms, like straight line, plane, and orientation, which is linked to surveying, for example, like horizontal, vertical, etc. So why using this word flat? Okay, some people can use that, but not within science, let's say.
Not within argumentation either.
Yes. So science, logic is science, logic is science. So yes, if someone is trying to make argument, don't use that word as synonym of horizontal, because it is absurd. You can say that in everyday life. I agree. But we know that
the same for plane though, right? You can't put plane as a synonym for level and horizontal either, because you're going to be in exactly the same position when it comes to the opposition to them, vertical.
Absolutely. Because if we agree that we can describe plane as flat, which is nonsense, but not nonsense. This is tautology. So this is redundant description. But okay.
Well, you know, you could,
false.
because you could, like I say, you could say that a plane is geometric and like Euclid allows people to do things. Well, you can't say that in reality. You need some actual descriptor of the thing in reality. It has to be visual. It has to be there. An object within reality, and a plane being 2D isn't there. So you'd never be able to realize a plane. So you have to have this word, which is flat.
Yes, I agree. So if you have whiteboard in vertical position, and if you put this whiteboard on the ground, that would be horizontal position. So it would mean that your whiteboard is not flat anymore if you put it on the wall. It is nonsense. You can create absurds from that, because if it is lying on the floor, it is flat. But if it is on the wall, it is not flat. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, Adam's doing the water in a bottle mind trick. Have you heard of the meniscus, Adam? Because if you have, you would know that there is a curl up at the side of the edges of the water where it sort of grabs onto the side of the bottle, makes it not flat. It doesn't make it not level. It does make it not flat, though. Quite obviously.
Especially if this surface is very small. This meniscus is very visible, let's say, because if, of course,
think the point of meniscus is
point,
there is no point of a meniscus.
It's near
reaction of the water or the liquid to the surface it's touching, the vertical surface, and it either creeps or diminishes, up or down.
Yeah.
But it does make it not flat, Adam. That's one of the points of this argument. Whenever you try and inject flat into an argument, you will fail, because it's not something you can argue about. It's just a visual descriptor. And if you can visually see that there's a meniscus, then sorry, it's not flat. A level is a tool, like I was saying before, for establishing a horizontal plane of reference. But because it's optical, it's sighted, you're measuring a measuring rod. There's nothing there. There's no object there to be flat. It's just not. It's just a horizontal plane of reference established by the tool. Of course, model afflicted people will imagine their model in that position and implement the wordage that they need to in order to justify their model. Model affliction. You're quite justified in doing it, Adam. But you have to make sure and be aware that if you ever try to use this in argumentation, you've got massive holes. It's fallacious. You could almost say you're trying to hand out contradictions to people and to get them to accept paralogisms, which I'm pretty sure most people have had enough of. They don't want to be given more shit to deal with. they've probably got enough to do with, you know, just living the life.
Yes, so it starts from solipsism. It means redundant description of the same thing, because for me, a plane is ideal flatness. So this is like whiteness. Something has ideal whiteness, and we can say it is white. But we can say about white thing. So we can say that something is flat, some object. But if we are talking about plane, we are talking about flatness, and flatness does not exist itself, because it is concept of property itself. So plane, I would say that flatness and plane are the same, because plane is ideal flatness. But saying that flatness is flat, it is just being ridiculous. That's why I would say that saying that plane is flat is so much nonsensical, because it is just plain flatness the same. So why adding this description? This is like saying that I can see whiteness because it is white. Oh, it's just a redundant thing, and it causes problems. So my advice would be, don't add redundant descriptions, because you will land in antonym.
Oh, Adam, I think Adam thinks the meniscus is due to gas pressure. It's interesting. Capillary action, I would say, but
yeah,
I don't know whether that's got anything to do with gas pressure. Interesting, though. That's the first argument Adam ever came across.
Or surface tension or something like that.
Well, it's the ability of a fluid to rise against the natural state of we'll call it the level body, through diminishing capillary sizes. Only up to a certain point, though.
Yeah.
People are obsessed, like, you know, they can't let go of a model to see the simplicity of an argument, and they think we're trying to dismantle their model for when we just point out the fallacies within the arguments. It's not a rebuttal to your model, Adam. There's no need to get it defensive. It's just pointing out that they're shit arguments. Well, I mean, you best be able to defend them if they are arguments, and you don't seem to be able to do that. So if you can't defend them, what sort of an argument is it? The shadow giants just hand out arguments and leave people like you, Adam, to do the dirty work. And it doesn't always go well. Adam knows he can come in here and explain his argument. Well, it's not even his argument. He's got it from QE. As they all do. They get these. Well, I think Nathan's having a go as well. Maybe Brian's logic.
That's why I would say that if someone is trying to argue, he should use words like in definitions, because they are more precise. Dictionary is not telling that you can that you have to use definitional meaning of word. So you can use as you want, but in argumentation, rather, I would say don't do that, because it will be contradictions. So, and I would say that mathematical definitions of horizontal, etc., they are not using flat there. So there is no reason to use word flat for planes, for orientations, etc., especially in mathematics. So I wouldn't do that. Even if they are in dictionary. But dictionary operates with more than mathematical meanings of the word.
Yeah, it's just common day usage of these words.
Yeah, I agree. But in mathematics, nobody would use, for example, flat plane, because it would be redundant and even hilarious, I would say.
Level doesn't mean flat, Adam. I don't know where you get that from.
If we have water level and in tube, it means that this body of water is not on the same, it does not create surface.
Yeah, so like we said with the meniscus.
Yes, and by the way, I'm talking about two ends of this water level.
Yeah, I'm talking like Adam is. He's talking about water in a bottle. So those two ends both have a meniscus. In fact, more of a meniscus than a bottle would, because it's a narrower tube.
Yes, but water level is for establishing 2 points.
Yeah.
Not we are
flat.
talking about. Yeah, so we are talking about point A and point B, and when we draw a line or even imagine a line between a plane between these 2 points, we know that this plane would be in horizontal position or level. So you can create a level with 2 points only. You don't need any surface of anything.
We're not fighting for anything, Adam. We're just pointing out, like, the use of flat within argumentation will automatically give you a fail. You'll never win anything. You'll never be able to have a constructive conversation with anyone. Level is horizontal, yes. That can be proved, Adam. Yes, it's just you want to tag on another word for some reason. And I think you're meaning it in the form of a plane. You just representing plane as a different word and wanted to tag that on. But it's not the same.
Yes, I would say that level creates horizontal. So, and this is in definition that level is, or let's say what a level tool does. So establishes. So level establishes horizontal. So if you have level, therefore you have horizontal.
Yeah.
So-
Tanya, point out it's like there's no such thing as a level earther. There's no such thing as a horizontal earther, because Earth is dirt and it's not level. Horizontal is level. You can definitely say that, right? But tag in flat or earth and it's meaningless. Completely irrelevant.
I think Adam laid it out there. Right there.
Yeah.
It's a brand.
Yeah, it's a brand.
It's a brand.
Yeah.
It's an unshakable brand. Yeah.
And that's why
it's
he's going to have
fallacious.
these antinomies. Like he's going to have to understand that you are carrying round contradictions, Adam. As long as you understand that, that's fine.
I asked if vertical can be flat. Adam said yes.
If flat is the
it's a
synonym for horizontal, therefore vertical cannot be flat.
Yeah, it's a contradiction, isn't it? It's a conundrum. It's a paradox. But because of the brand's sake, for the sake of the brand, we can throw out logic and all of that because tis flat.
Wow.
Just like tis
try
globe.
is a bridge of asses too far for me. Wow.
So you know what the bridge of asses is as well?
I think he's been listening to us. He's heard of it.
Decide to stay on it.
Yeah. Get underneath it.
Get underneath it where it's warm. Nice campfire under there.
I have no objection to brand, flat earth, etc. It is, for me, it is misnomer, oxymoron, etc. But okay, no problem for me, as long as you are not using these words as an argument, because you can name anything as you want. You can name flat earth Daisy, and let's talk about Daisy.
Go on, Adam. Which attack? Nathan's attack? Yeah. I used to say that when I first started listening to Bev for the first 5 years. Before the attack. Which attack, Adam?
What?
The attack that Nathan did.
I kept begging you to embrace flat. Just never mind logic, Bev. Never mind the arguments. Just
please
embrace
be on
flat.
Please be on my team.
Yes.
Please.
Yep.
My team's so good. Like we're totally winning. We've got this really catchy name and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you would be a great addition to the team.
And he used to like us before Nathan Oakley started attacking us.
I know. It's like, I mean, how sad's that?
Yeah.
Nathan Oakley tells everyone to unsubscribe, and like loads of people do, and it's just like, well, to be honest, we're probably better off without those people. If they're that easily swayed by one person.
It's all right, Adam. We don't really think that Nathan's attacks mean much. Just a flat earther saying stupid shit like they always do.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob.
I was going to say something, but I forgot already. I'll come back when I remember.
You are better off, Adam. You don't want people pointing out the contradictions you're holding. It gets you all annoyed, doesn't it? Chuck's saying it's getting bored. Do you not ever get bored of this, Adam? Chuck says it's a road to nothing. I mean, Chuck should know. He's at every channel. He's always there in the chat, talking to everyone, saying this. He doesn't get bored of it. I can only see the times like the globers that hung here would show up then, Bev. What? You all right, Adam?
He might be angry typing.
Yeah. What,
Flat Earth is inevitable? It's
what?
What?
Doesn't even
Wow.
mean anything. Like what?
That's like something someone in a cult would say.
We're just waiting,
Okay.
really. Yeah, waiting for
I
that
remember
day.
it. I remember it. It's perfect timing.
Go on, Rob.
I remember it. It's perfect timing because you guys said he's hanging out under the bridge of asses, right? Do you know who lives under bridges?
Exactly.
Yeah, trolls. Exactly. Yes.
Why are you acting like this, Adam? I'm sorry.
It's for the brand, Rob. For the brand's sake.
I understand.
There's no
Like,
proofs.
'cause
There's no proofs for it, but
I'm sorry. I identify as a flat earther. I'm sorry, but it's not flat. It's just a subject matter
You'd
that
be a
I
different flat
have
earther than Adam, Rob.
Yeah, because the earthers aren't really a thing. There's no such like. What is an earther, for fuck's sakes? I'm sorry for swearing. This is my favorite subject to delve into, but we have the best arguments here, and it gets both sides heated.
Well,
Thanks
that's
for
what we're
being here,
talking
Bev.
about. That's what we're talking about, the arguments, and it's Adam that wants to accept an antinomy rather than adjusting his argument to make it rock solid. He'd rather just hang on to a contradiction, push a contradiction, rather than fix the argument to make it at least valid. As it stands, it's just not an argument. Somebody's given him a piece of shit and said, "Here, Adam, this is an argument. This is a flat Earth argument. Go and spout it out to everybody. Just fill the chat so anybody that's watching can read this contradiction."
Hang on. Polish my turd for me.
Well,
kind of probably a American reference. That when you try and polish a turd, it's still a turd, even if you shine it up real nice. So their shit arguments can't be polished.
No, but they can be paralogized, as Adam's done, right? Adam's taken this argument on from QE and Nathan, whoever's given it to him, and he's now repeating it. He's putting it out as a paralogism. And he's not willing to accept that there may be a bit of a flaw within it. Just a little bit. Well, I've come to my conclusion, Lakota, that I would say that flat and vertical are not antonyms, because you can have a vertical plane. So therefore, they cannot be antonyms. And because of that, not Q, we can say not P. Therefore, level, horizontal, and flat can't be synonyms.
And by the way, it is only partially true, because I would agree that flat and horizontal are not synonyms, and flat and level are not synonyms. But if you are using three of them, you disprove P, but you don't disprove that level and horizontal are synonyms.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that for the sake of argument, I would remove this level from argument.
Flat.
No. From this argument.
Remove level.
Yeah. Because supposedly what we are doing modus tollens. It means that we are denying that flat and vertical are antonyms. So we have two things here, flat and orientation. So in P, we should have only flat and orientation. One orientation.
Well, level and horizontal are basically the
yes,
same
I agree.
thing, aren't they? So.
Yes, level. Yes, I agree. But
I see what paper's saying,
for
though.
the sake of argument.
Paper's saying for the sake of the actual argument, level is superfluous here.
Yeah, but that was the argument was laid out by QE with level, horizontal, and flat being synonyms. So.
All being the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep. And as we found out in our research and discussion today, plane as well. You covered that. Plane can also be thrown in there.
Yeah, I mean, all you would be doing is saying that level, horizontal, and flat are not synonyms, not P.
Mm-hmm. Then you could go on
flat out of the argument. Everything else stands apart from, you know.
Then you could go on to level is horizontal, which we already have an argument for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the synonym and the antonym can cause a sort of condition called the antinomy, where there is a contradiction between two apparently equally valid principles. I don't expect anybody to take on these arguments because these are sort of arguments that they're real arguments and real rebuttals to arguments and statements said. So it's not really needed within this arena. And I don't expect anybody to really have the discussion or implement any of these sort of things. And you will definitely hear people say this synonym argument again. Many times. But taken logically, whichever way you come out of this, you come out of it with the conclusion that vertical is opposed to flat. There's no other way to take it. With it, whether you take the modus ponens or the modus tollens. For this particular argument, both of the conclusions let you know that vertical is opposed to flatness. Therefore, either way, modus ponens, modus tollens, any measurable change within the vertical would disprove flat. It means it cannot be flat. Unless, of course, you want to use this new modern day type of argumentation where you just go back to repeating, well, the dictionary says they're synonyms, and expect that to be a good enough conclusion. And we are open for anybody if they want to come in and have a discussion about any of these things. It's an open Discord. Open to all but the few who've been banned. And you only get banned for serious issues. We talk to anyone. Every conversation's a useful one. Even with people talking about this. I mean, this has been going around for quite a while. And we've been watching all of these situations, casting an eye upon all of the arguments that keep going on. There are very few of them. But the statements that are made by people can be sometimes amusing. But this is one of those ones that you don't want to be paralogizing, or i.e. handing out fallacious arguments as though they are a valid argument, because they're not. And if you take it on, much like Adam has done, you're going to fall foul of logic. If somebody spots the contradiction, how do you deal with it? What's your rebuttal to somebody pointing out that you've just stated a contradiction? I don't know who hands out that sort of stuff, where it comes from. So anyway, anybody does want to come into On the Level Discord, calling it the home of the argument, because it seems like the discussions that we have here, it's been ongoing for most of the day, this sort of stuff, and the conclusions that you can come to through argumentation, it's I think it's pretty impressive. We've been saying for quite a few years now, and never used flat in an argument. Like Adam said, he's been trying to get us to embrace the flat, but like we've always said, it's ridiculous, and it'll end you up within fallacy. You can't argue positively for flat, because flat is just a visual surface descriptor. And that's not going to do well. You can obviously see that the surface, i.e. mountains, like even rivers show you that there is a flow to the water that's not flat. There's a vertical change, water will flow. And if water's flowing, you can be guaranteed it's not flat.
Yes, and basically Nathan Oakley's statement, it is not an argument, but it is a statement that Earth is measurably and observably flat.
Yeah.
He said that many, many times.
Yeah, measurably.
Measurably and observably.
Yeah.
So if observably, it means he refers to surface, because of course we can see only surface of the thing. So from of entire body of Earth, we can see only surface. And both predications are not true, because it is measurably not flat and observably not flat.
Mm-hmm.
Surface of the Earth. I would give credit to Nathan Oakley if he said that, okay, Earth is measurably not flat, observably not flat, but we call it flat Earth because of brand or whatever, trademark. I would pass, because no problem.
Yeah, if you've got good arguments, then it doesn't really matter. But trying to argue that the Earth's flat, you're never going to convince anyone, I don't think. Not going to convince me anyway. You'd have to do really well. And as far as I've seen, they can't talk about their arguments. It's a bit embarrassing, really. They just get annoyed.
Well, certainly not with arguments, right? But there is a possibility that the arguments don't really matter. That if arguments, if that term is used, argument, here's an argument, it's used to put a facade, a false facade, a fake surface, a fake look to it, to the brand. When in actuality, the brand is just another religion. Now, I would have far more respect for both flat earthers and globe earthers if they would just say, this is my religion. This is my belief. It is my God. It is my monad, whatever. And then who argues with that? Like, hey, whatever your belief is, good on you. That's your belief. But the idea that you can claim to have arguments that don't stand up to refutation and then ignore that and then claim the people that are refuting your arguments because they're so bad from a logical perspective are the ones on the bridge of asses. It's crazy to me.
He likes it.
But hey,
he admits it
yeah.
as well. He's happy to be there.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
It's just too much of a contradiction for me, Adam. But it's 2023. People obviously hold many contradictions.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, who is it to me? I can't take your contradictions away from you. If you've justified them, then good luck. But if you've got justified contradictions, then the last place you should be is within a debating arena. Because you're going to have to get people to agree with your contradictions. And I don't know how many people are going to do that. I mean, you can berate them, you can call them names, you can do whatever you want, but they don't have to take on your contradictions that you've accepted.
I think.
Go on. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think because ultimately what we're talking about is, these particular people around this arena, it is their belief. It actually is a belief because they don't have the arguments. They can't withstand the logic. Then just go with belief.
No, that's not better at all, Adam.
No, you don't think so? Just go with, but just accept the brand, accept the belief.
I mean, have you seen what Adam says? Just have a read
No.
of that. Go on.
The earth is the earth. That the flat is what Earth lives on.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Well, not for me.
No, that's ridiculous.
I think that Nathan Oakley summarized in the best way this flat Earth thingy that is observably and measurably flat, and both statements are false. So I cannot go with that. I would say that what Rob is saying, that he is flat earther, but he knows that Earth is not flat, is just misnomer. Okay, he goes with misnomer. It doesn't matter for him. I can understand that. But saying that Earth is measurably and observably flat, it is just not true. It is observably not flat. So I don't know, but I cannot go with that statement.
See,
flat datum.
Adam, yeah, this is your problem, Adam. It's on a vertical datum, and vertical, according to your argument, is an antonym for flat. So the very fact that you're using a vertical datum is an antonym for your flat, which means the vertical datum cannot be flat. By your argument, Adam. Well, the argument that you've paralogized for QE and Nathan Oakley.
Well, and datum is a point. A point is that which has no parts. How can a point even have an orientation if you are inclined to call flat an orientation? I mean, any way you go, Adam.
One point has no orientation, but it is difference, because vertical datum gives you a difference.
It's a mean upon
yes,
the vertical
it's a mean,
datum.
but mean is in the middle. So you have to have at least 3 points already: the highest point, the lowest point, and the middle point. And these 3 points are on vertical.
All of them are on the vertical. And we've said this many, many times. If you're talking about mean sea level, that is a thing specific to a certain land area, certain land mass. The mean sea level in the UK is not the same as the mean sea level datum point in the US or North America. It's not the same thing. So again, any way you go. So Adam's answer is just embrace it. Doesn't matter. Embrace the contradiction.
Yeah. It's never been
fascinating, man.
But
a person would call it flat.
What?
Even if flat is even if it's
my goodness.
Sorry, even if flat is orientation, it is disproved by vertical measurement. So it doesn't hold anyway.
So I've had to hide Rumpus's Rumpus came in. I had to hide it. The chat isn't going to see it because I held it for review. Sorry, Rumpus, but you know, when you come in with the personal attacks, then we can't show your otherwise wonderful comment. Which let me try to paraphrase. Get rid of the personal attack. A datum, Rumpus says, a datum is a surface at the same vertical level. Jesus. Oh, sorry, that's more part of the personal thing. A datum is a surface at the same vertical level. A datum is a surface, according to Rumpus.
Yeah, at the same vertical level.
Mm-hmm.
Vertical.
Oh, just sorry. Can I just clarify for everyone out there? Kevin didn't see that comment and go, "Oh, that's bad." YouTube first picked it up.
Correct, and
so
presented it to me as a mod.
Yeah. Just so people don't think we're, censoring anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
YouTube
never even
picks it up
saw
and
it
gives it to
because
me.
YouTube said, "Hey, this message has got some weird stuff in it."
But that's
I'd like to add that wrecked is a made-up word that will never happen in reality. I just want to throw that in there as well.
Well, that's a bold claim, but thank you for that. Wrecked is never going to happen, according to NORAD.
The rect test, because rect is actually real. It's just a part of the rectangular sort of thing. It means perpendicular at right angles to.
Mm-hmm.
Which was funny because Rumpus's test is to supposedly deny the perpendicularity of vertical and horizontal. Which sounds fantastic, and that's why it will never get done. Much like Slice Barcane and the reason that Jesse Kozlowski is no longer with us. Well, not say no longer with us. No longer likely to be able to come around and have any discussions about anything. Both sides really are in a bit of a predicament. The Flat Earth Society must be working really hard, because they're going to have to make a new group of flat earthers to argue with the new group of globe earthers, and they'll all have to pretend that none of this stuff that went on beforehand has ever taken place. They'll just have to have like a memory wipe.
Mind wipe tonic, let's say.
Oh, Rect will happen next year.
Yeah, next
that's
year.
A familiar cry from Rumpus.
For the last 3 years? Year number 4. Year number 4 is the charm. We hope you do. We hope it does happen, Rumpus. Honestly.
What's this? Adam says, I'd rather be harangued by my old friends than watch Nathan watch Ruhif is how much I hate Ruhif. Well, Ruhif won't come round here, Adam. And you felt bad for trolling. You're not trolling us, Adam. You're just paralogizing arguments that have been given to you. Shit arguments that have been given to you. Sorry, but that's not trolling. You'd have to try much harder than that, Adam. If you think that's trolling, then you need to have a severe look at yourself. And we've not been haranguing you. We've been talking about the argument, Adam. You're the one that presents it within the chat. Nathan Oakley and QE, they'll never address it. They'll leave it to people like you, Adam. No, Rumpus. Level is horizontal, but that's not flat Earth, Rumpus. It's always established at an elevation, at an altitude above the ground, therefore not the ground, Rumpus. You've really misunderstood what you're talking about.
Yes, and this is non sequitur, because if you have level and horizontal, so why in conclusion you have flat? Non sequitur. I would like to hear an argument for that. If you believe, because if you start
says
argument,
that they are his arguments. You gave that argument to QE from the dictionary. The synonym argument is yours, Adam. I mean, that's nice.
Oh, is that what Adam's saying?
Falling on the sword for QE and Nathan, yeah. It turns out the price of Adam has given QE the fallacious argument that ends up in an antinomy.
Adam also is begging us not to make him agree with Rumpus.
About what?
I don't know.
We don't agree. I cannot agree, because this is what Rumpus says, and not only Rumpus, but Maktoon and others, that Bev is flat earther because he thinks that level is horizontal. So I would like to hear or to read a full argument, because for me it seems like non sequitur for now, because it is if-then statement. So it is antecedent and consequent at least. If Bev thinks that level is horizontal, therefore he is flat earther. It is non sequitur. So someone needs to elaborate on that a bit, because for now it is non sequitur.
Rumpus, Aaron Armstrong is the Aaron Armstrong that put Fight the Flat Earth in touch with Who's that guy that they like to pretend does the optics? Not Ranty. What's his face? Fight the Flat Earth, forgot about his name as well. Yeah, Aaron Armstrong. Let me see if I can find. I think that we had some Aaron Armstrong. I think that was something to do with Page as well. Let me see if I can. He had a. It might be DP. Was it? How far back was it?
He says Andrew Thomas Young.
Yeah, that's the fella. Here we go. There we go. There's the thing. Bill Bell. He did. Fight the Flat Earth said that he was getting emails with Andrew Thomas Young, but then he later had to admit in another video that the emails were actually for this Aaron Armstrong, and they weren't going to him. Aaron Armstrong was talking to him. That's right, isn't it, Aaron? I've got a good memory. All of these things. There was another one as well, I think. Oh yeah, that's the. That's...
Looks like we have agreement between Rumpus and Adam. Quite good.
Yeah, Aaron Armstrong. Fight the Flat Earth stole. I didn't know he stole them. I thought you were giving him to him.
Rumpus, you don't need anything like horizontal plane to measure on vertical datum. So you don't need any horizontal plane. So there is no link. But even if someone established horizontal plane, it doesn't mean that this is the surface of the Earth. So it has nothing to do with the surface. Vertical datum has nothing to do with the surface.
You keep saying, Rumpus says there's no one that doesn't accept the existence of topography. Well, yeah, Nathan Oakley says it's measurably and observably flat. It appears, Rumpus, that we're rebutting Nathan Oakley and you're saying Nathan Oakley doesn't say that. Well, he does, Rumpus. Flat earthers say the earth is flat. People like Nathan Oakley. Adam. There's loads of people that do it. Flatsoid. Flatsoid says he can scientifically prove a flat earth. So stop telling us, Rumpus, that they don't say that. They do. Almost like you're defending them, Rumpus. What are you doing? You're terrible, Rumpus. What is the flat earth argument if it's not that the earth's flat? Like, come on.
Even Rumpus said the Earth is. Rumpus said up above, my goodness, it's really simple. If you believe all points on the same vertical position form a horizontal plane, then by definition, you believe oceans are horizontal. Therefore,
I don't believe oceans
conclusion,
are horizontal as tides,
the
Rumpus.
Earth is flat. Therefore, the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
So if you have a claim about the oceans, the Earth is flat.
Earth
Sounds
is
good.
flat means surface of the Earth. And surface of the Earth is observably not flat.
And the surface of the ocean is not the Earth.
It sounds like Rumpus is wanting to be a flat earther. Is Rumpus
Sounds like he is a
arguing
flat
for
earther.
flat earth at the minute?
I think so.
And by the way, surface of the ocean is not flat also.
All uppercase that we have to mod again because Rumpus can't control his emotions. Says that no one denies mountains.
Yeah.
With a big slur at the end.
Yeah, we won't address this. We'll leave that alone. We'll just take the good stuff that Rumpus says. The good ridiculous shit.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no elevation.
Leave the rest behind.
Nobody says that there's no elevation changes, do they? They just say it's not an argument to say that there are elevation changes.
Paige says Rumpus is more of a flat earther than she is.
Yeah.
I think you're right, Paige.
Flat Earth Society, Paige, this is what we've been saying for ages. Rumpus is doing more work for the Flat Earth than Flat Earthers do when he comes and does this.
Ignoring. So do you think that oceans are horizontal, ignoring waves and tides? So yes, the same thing is with the surface of the Earth. Just ignore mountains and valleys.
Yeah, that's what Buster says. It's Flat Earth is the Earth minus the Earth.
And the waves and the tides.
The water.
Yeah.
No,
and the water. So if you get rid of the Earth and you get rid of the water, then
just ignore
it.
And then it's flat.
The rest of it, it's flat. Or 'tis globe, or 'tis flat. That's what I said. 'Tis flat, 'tis globe. Same team, guys. Same freaking team. Look at this.
Well, Rumpus, level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference. There is no slope. All of the points are at an equal elevation. It's ridiculous, Rumpus. You're arguing for something that isn't, right? Level being horizontal does not prove a flat Earth. Never will. But Rumpus wants you to believe that if you think level is horizontal, or even if you know it, then you are a flat earther. But only dictated to by this one weird guy on the internet that's now typing in caps because he's that triggered.
He's that triggered, yeah. Well, he is protecting his flat Earth, so it's understandable in a way. Protecting the religion.
If the Earth is flat and level is flat, so why surveyors are using levels to establish horizontal plane and they are not using Earth? They should use Earth.
Thanks, paper. That was my point.
Wow, look at that.
Level is not. Triggered.
Level's not a tool. It is.
Yes, because Earth is a tool. Earth is a tool.
Level's not a tool. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
In the corner
hold on, guys. We have to parse these excellent points from Rumpus. So he says level is not a tool. Level is an adjective. Stop confusing a tool. I thought it wasn't a tool, Rumpus. Either it's a tool or it's not a tool, man. Make up your mind.
It's not a noun. Is it a noun?
It is a noun and adjective. The same thing as flat and flatness. So we have flatness and flat. But now we have flatness without flat. So it is, yes, this is just nonsense. Yes, level is noun and it is a tool. Why level, noun, is called level? Because it has this adjective inside. It is level, adjective. So level is level. Level, noun, is adjective level. Yes. Like horizon is horizontal.
My goodness. Wow. Look at this. Adam says, I'm a flat earther, but I know that to say level horizontal earther is more concise. It's not a contradiction if you can figure out where the concept ends and reality begins.
Love you guys. I love you guys. It's not a contradiction.
Hang on. Can you read out the whole thing and then do the second bit after and see whether it's like an even you, Emma? Sounds a bit.
Oh, I didn't see it. Even you, Emma. Sorry, Nathan called you that one time. My goodness.
I love you
That
guys,
one
and
time.
even you, Emma.
He's done it more than once, hasn't he? Let's be honest. It's
Yeah.
not just the once, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see you later, Rumpus. Nice
Yeah,
try.
thanks for coming,
Well done.
Grumpus.
Go back, talk to the council. See if they can find someone better.
Tell them we don't mind if you're a flat earther, Rumpus. It's no big deal. So there's a lot of
We
flat
will
earthers
accept
around.
you.
Yep.
So now Rumpus is trying to argue that water level has nothing to do with level. Okay.
Right.
No problem.
Mm-hmm. Water level, outer level.
Bubble level or whatever. Spirit level, whatever. Like he was arguing for year, I think, that horizontal has nothing to do with horizon. Now water level has nothing to do with level.
Well, I think I heard a good one from Nathan Oakley today. He said that the what the globe, because he had a go at doing trying to explain the not that, which it does just sound like incoherent nonsense, as always is. But he said that it's a differential between what is and what you see. Something about the curve. I don't know. But I immediately thought about differential leveling. And that's how elevations are measured. So when Nathan said it was a differential about what you see in the distance, it sort of sounded like Nathan doesn't really understand what the surveying principles of how we measure elevation changes. Because it is a differential between those parallel horizontal planes. That's what we measure, is that distance between them and the difference. And that's how we know whether one place is higher or lower. And we mark it on the vertical datum. And vertical, right, is opposed to flat, no matter which way you look at it. Especially when the flat earthers look at the earth as being flat, when it's obviously not. Because you can measure the elevation changes. But they want to ignore the elevation changes. Which just means they're left with level being horizontal. Which, strangely enough, is the exact thing that we've been dealing with all of this time. Just, there's no need to tie it to flat. Because it's just not. People don't half say some stupid shit, though. Whenever you get into this point, Into the Breaks, another one of these obfuscation agents, I think. You seem to be talking nonsense into the break. Doesn't make sense. And that's a shame, because we like to talk sense around here.
Yes. Ignoration will not help, because there is another fallacy. It is called proving from ignorance. So if we don't know, we cannot establish a premise, because then we would create begging the question fallacy. So cannot prove from ignorance.
Here's one. Shout out Sean Hawkins. He was asking a question to Sean G, as they do. You can see it there. Sean Hawkins says, is level a circle or horizontal line? Sean G. And Where's Wally replies, you know, can be both, I think. There's your diletheism from the globe. And that's all you need to rebut, right, guys? You need to rebut the diletheism. Call it a contradiction if you want. It can have both. Holding contradictions is always the way that you can rebut arguments. You can point out the contradiction, then you've proved that the other person's position is fallacious. At least in olden days within arguments. We're talking about new, modern day, flat earth debate type tactics here, where they have to accept contradictions. And you're expected to be able to go along with them. I mean, so what if they're saying nonsense? It's their argument. You have to allow them have their argument.
But for clarification, Sean Hawkins is asking, is level a circle or horizontal line? And he's not specifying that this horizontal line is straight or curved.
No.
I don't know.
No, and I just point out, Into the Break said, there's a lot of Earth higher than other parts of Earth. I state, that sounds like a bit of nonsense. And he then replies, how is water level nonsense?
Water level has nothing to do with Earth.
Well, no, but his comment that I said was ridiculous, sounds a bit nonsense, is there's lots of Earth higher than other parts of Earth. And then just chose to think that the water level was nonsense. So, you've got people who are actively just acting, I don't know, just making up nonsense and putting it in the chat. I don't think people actually need people like that around, to be honest. It's hard enough dealing with, life as it is. Whereas at this modern day time, we've got to deal with people talking nonsense, coming up with arguments. Well, they're not even arguments. They're just fallacies. Pointing out contradictions becomes, I don't know. You get shouted at, not say shouted at, but you get name called. You get people telling people to unsubscribe from your channel just for pointing out the fallacies within people's arguments. I mean, Nathan got annoyed that we told Ruhif that you can do fuck all with an angle. And Nathan said that was undermining his argument about the sextant. But it was said before a 10th man brought the sextant bullshit out. When Brian's logic, before Brian's logic came round here trying to give us the shakedown about the get on board with the sextant argument. Yeah, Godzilla. In the beginning of any formal debate, opponents would have to agree on terms and definitions. Well, that never happens in this thing. Nobody knows what flat is, and nobody wants to define Earth. I think I'm the only one that defines Earth as soil, thing you plant crops in. What's Earth to everybody else? The big thing. The whole. I mean, how do you define it?
Like
Adam.
Universe.
Adam says, I've also noticed how many times you say contradictions without explaining what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, Adam, here it is. Right? The Earth, if the Earth is flat, there would be no elevation changes. Very simple. Therefore, any measurable elevation change would mean the Earth is not flat. It is a contradiction, Adam, to say that that which has been proved to not be flat is flat. That's your contradiction. It's also a contradiction to say that a water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference, and that would go around a spherical object. That's also a contradiction. Being able to see contradictions is one of the key tenets of logic. But if you can't put the work in to understand where these contradictions are shown and how you can realize that they are contradictions, then I don't think you'll ever get it. There's a lot of people.
I think into the break said it quite well, actually. That's a contradiction. It's so flat, it's not flat.
And referring to Godzilla, yes, and this part of flat Earth, let's say, movement or community, is true because they started from arguing against heliocentric model, this globe, etc. But it doesn't make Earth being flat, because not a globe does not mean something else. It is just not that. So it is not proof for flat Earth that it is not a globe and spinning globe. Debunking spinning globe is just stating why this model is impossible. And because it is impossible, it means it is not real. And if it is not real, it doesn't exist. So it isn't. There is no real globe, spinning globe in heliocentric model evolving around the sun, etc.
Can we call it the dogmatic globe? Right? Because
No,
there are people out there, right, that are unaware of all of this, that do have a globe. But their globe relates to reality. It's just something that they have in their mind. Somebody's handed them a word and they've associated reality to that word. That's it.
Okay, so I would say spinning ball. Spinning ball. Model of the spinning ball evolving around the sun. So it is impossible. It is not real. It cannot be. So
It's dogma.
Yes, and impossibility means you cannot have impossibility in reality.
Yeah, you could. The point about this is you can prove the dogma, right? I don't think anybody here, right, is attempting or thinking that they have to attempt to disprove the dogmatic globe model, right? That's not needed. Anybody can do that multiple different ways. We're just pointing out that disproving it or doing that doesn't need doing, right, doesn't prove the Earth is flat. It doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes, because not that does not mean this, what I think. It's just not that. Like, for example, not white does not mean blue. It is blue because it is not white. No, it doesn't work that way. Not white just means not white. You have brown, orange, red, etc. So you still cannot prove that this is blue because it is not white.
I still think there's a confusion or something with what Adam is still saying. So Gord says this. It sounds pedantic to me, to many, hell, including myself at times. But we, as whatever the F we're called, fair enough, Gords, should know better. We've been fooled before, must be strict on the definitions of the words we use. And especially for, I would say, Gords, especially for us, because we deal in logic and geometry. All the more reason that you have to have the definitions, the axioms, etc. Right? Okay, so Adam comes back. It says, I'd accept that, Gord, but synonyms mean what they mean for a reason. Why is flat a synonym of level? Do we have to go over this again? The implications of that. Fair enough, Adam. If that's what you're going to accept, that flat is a synonym for level, which is a synonym for horizontal, then the ultimate conclusion is that flat and vertical are antonyms. Then you no longer can have a vertical plane. Vertical planes cannot exist then.
Oxymoron.
If that's what you're saying, if that's what you're saying, fair enough, right? Okay. I don't know that that's what you're saying, though.
Adam, can we look into it? Yes, we have. It's been placed there by a group of people, obviously, that want you to believe that level is a synonym. They're handing you a contradictory position. Now, it's up to you whether you can see it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are people that want to hold this as an actual position. They want to curve horizontal. And really, they actually want to get rid of vertical planes. Because I don't know whether you know it or not, Adam, but the globe model, the dogmatic globe model, can't have vertical planes. And with this argument that you're using, a vertical plane is an oxymoron. There's no such thing as a vertical plane with your argument, your synonym argument, which sounds like it's a dogmatic globe thing. You're easing the way for the dogmatic globe model. There's no
Indeed.
such thing as a vertical plane, which
that's what they say.
They'll have that.
Totally accept that. Yep. And Bev, did you cover the thing that you posted about the what is the opposite of vertical? Since we're talking about synonyms and antonyms.
Yeah.
You did talk about that? Go over that?
But you can go over it again if you want, because
even straight is opposite to vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's more to it. So if Bev reposts it here for everybody to see.
Okay.
I think it was
I've got it on the screen,
6
but
p.m. your time.
I'll put it on for you.
Yeah, thanks.
There you go. It's already on the screen here.
Okay. So this is what is the opposite of vertical? Now look at all the things that according to this definition, look at all the things that are opposite of vertical.
And
things we've already
that's
discussed.
because of this
Yeah.
synonym. If you take on horizontal, flat, and level being synonyms, this is the conclusion.
Correct. Plane. But there's a couple of other words in here that are very interesting. Look in the left-hand column. You'll see straight, Bev underlined, and bent. So if you have straight and bent, both being opposites of vertical, does that imply that straight and bent are synonyms? Think about that.
Yes, it implies.
It implies straight and bent are synonyms.
Which
so is
an
how about bent?
right?
How about bent? Is bent a synonym with curved? Do you see where this game goes, Adam? Straight is now a synonym of curved. Who else says that?
Yeah, you've allowed a contradiction in, and once a little contradiction comes in, implications are massive. You can't hold it. You've exploded your system of allowing one little contradiction. Yeah, Askin's being a little bit harsh. Depends whether they've been taken in or what. Not. They, accepted an argument. Curved level is a dichotomy. No, you call that an oxymoron, Adam. Much like a vertical plane within your argument. Curved level is an oxymoron. Contradictory statement, not a dichotomy.
Dichotomy, it is yes or no. This is dichotomy. So we have two statements and they are mutually exclusive. It is dichotomy.
They want to have a flattened globe being a dichotomy. Well, they're both false. So it's not possible for them to both be a dichotomy. You're forgetting about reality, Adam.
That's why it is called false dichotomy. Because true dichotomy is if one is true, so the opposite is false by necessity.
So once again, Adam's accepting the contradiction. Horizontal level is flat, but vertical can also be flat. Contradiction.
Yeah.
Logically cannot happen. But hey, embrace the contradictions.
Yeah, if flat is synonymous to horizontal, then flat being synonymous to vertical must be false, because vertical and horizontal aren't synonymous.
Yeah. Correct. It's a fallacy. And if you accept the fallacy, you've accepted a contradiction.
It is true dichotomy between horizontal and vertical. It is dichotomy. So if you have on one side vertical and on other side horizontal, you can say that between them it is dichotomy. So vertical versus horizontal. But this dichotomy is within only orientation. Because if you say flat vertical and flat horizontal, of course, opposition is only within orientation, not within flatness. So it means that we are in different category, because orientation is different category than flat or being flat. It is different category.
Oh, see,
So
he has vertical being flat as well as horizontal being flat.
yeah, so yes, it means that flat is not orientation. That's my point.
Yes. It can't be
So
both orientations, can it? Like
Yeah.
vertical is vertical and horizontal is horizontal, but Adam has flat being synonymous with both.
So it disproves his point.
Yeah.
Because if vertical can be flat and horizontal can be flat, it means that this flat is genus and orientation would be species. So it is like folder and subfolder. So we can put vertical and horizontal in one folder. That would be flat. Let's say folder named flat. In this folder named flat, we have many orientations. In that number, we can have also vertical and horizontal. So it does not disprove flat, because yes, we can describe, let's say, vertical as flat and horizontal as flat, and it means by necessity that it cannot be orientation, because it means that flat describes two different orientations, which is nonsense. So it means it is just misplaced concreteness, different category. You cannot confuse categories within argument. And this is what this argument is doing, by the way.
If it's ridiculous, it should be ridiculed. Exactly. And if there's a reducto, if you can reduce an argument down to absurdity, then that's what you should do. It proves the argument is absurd. It's a way of falsifying arguments to say it's not really an argument. Now, it may look like an argument to most people, but if you can reduce it down to an absurdity, then that argument has to be proven false, a non-argument.
Yes, it means, for example, in your example of modus ponens, because it follows from antecedent follows a consequent, and this consequent is absurdal. So it means that the premise or antecedent is absurdal, because in conditional statement you can create true consequence of false premise or antecedent. So your antecedent can be impossible, and this impossible antecedent will create true consequence. It is very important. That's why we can create reductio ad absurdum. So we have impossible antecedent, which seems to be true, and we can have consequence of that antecedent, and we can see that it is absurd. That's why we can say, that's why this antecedent is impossible. Because in conclusion, we have absurd. This is how reductio ad absurdum is created. It looks very well. We have antecedent consequent, like, for example, if man is a donkey, he would be mindless. So it is impossible per se that human is not a donkey. But if he was, he would be. This is inevitable consequence of antecedent. So if man is a donkey, he would be mindless, without mind, because donkeys haven't got mind. So it is absurdal. That's why we are reductio ad absurdum is created. Because impossibility has consequences. Not only things that they are in reality, they have consequences, but in speculation, we have consequences also. They would be real. That's why we have in this logic box, it is very important that we have to assume that P is true, always. Even if we know that it is not. In argument, we assume that P is true, even if it is completely impossible. Because this impossible statement still has consequences. And from that consequences, we can create reductio ad absurdum. Okay, sorry, I have to go to bed.
Yeah.
So good night. Thank you very much.
Good night. That has been a pretty hard day. And it was good having a chat in the comment section of Nathan Oakley. I mean, he doesn't seem to address any of his chat or anything. I mean, obviously, he's got a lot of people watching and they need to have their discussions about things. But you could try this argument out, the synonym argument. All you've got to see is the implications of the if P then Q statement. You make sure you mind your P's and Q's. Make sure you understand them. Make sure one does follow from the other. The statement's obviously been said. Level, horizontal, and flat are synonyms. QE shouted it at us. I'm pretty sure I've got a clip of him shouting it. So, I mean, what would be the implications of that being as is? Well, if they're synonyms, the antonyms have to be applied. Antonyms of flat amongst that argument means vertical is an antonym, which it is, right? If there's vertical, it can't be flat. Simple. But you can't have that because you also want to have flat vertical planes, which puts yourself in a contradictory position. The very argument that you use, you have to contradict that to carry on with the implications of it. It's pretty bad. Into the break. If you want to say, yes, flat is synonymous with level, then you have to take it on that vertical is an antonym for flat. We know it's an antonym for level. That's obvious. Plumb and level are antonyms. They are opposites of each other. In this case, you've put flat with level. Therefore, flat is an antonym for vertical. That's your argument. That's what you're stating. Terrible argument. It's weird that I can't reconcile what? I can't, like, what's going on, Adam? It's weird you can't reconcile that. I don't know what you're meant to be reconciling. You can't be flat and not be level, but if you're level, I don't know. You've really weird argument, Adam. Like, try and put your argument into a coherent stream, but I mean, make it part of the synonymous one. We're dealing with the synonyms and the, you know, grammar, how we use the words. Yeah, gods. The Flat Earth label was handed down to you by Robotham. And not many people have attempted to go and do what Robotham did. We are, my son, right, has the footage. And Robotham didn't do what he said he did. So that means that the original foundations of the Flat Earth Society, the people that gave you the Flat Earth tag, were lying. They were messing. It was all a play to make you believe that there was some sort of contention about Bedford, the canal, the water there. It's all a mess. It's all a lie. Never happened. Just so you can carry on arguing flat and globe. It's completely fictional, all made up by the dogmatic globe guys. Just don't put flat into the argument. Take flat out and then see where you can get to, because you can talk about reality as much as you want. You don't need to use the word flat at all. Smooth is a touch thing. Level, horizontal, a measurable change on the vertical datum. Smooth, flat. Smooth is a touch thing. Flat is a visual thing. You wonder why Ranty went to optics? You wonder why this new guy came with Nathan today, talking about optics again? And they want you to use optics because flat is an optical thing. The real measurable thing is on the vertical datum. But the vertical datum proves it's not flat. Simple. Tried to tell Nathan about this. But I mean, where do you go if you can't acknowledge the vertical datum is a measured not flat? Terrible. We're just trying to help you out with arguments. It means nothing really, because the people that you're talking to, well, you know, within this arena, they're never going to accept it anyway. They've been in this arena doing the same thing. Ranty's gone. He's not coming back. Ranty's another one that's left doing a Jesse Kozlowski because they cannot talk about level and horizontal. They can't talk about how it's measured. Ranty lived just down the road. He didn't want to come and see the Realising Euclid test. He didn't even want to come to the canal to check it out, to see what we were doing. He was offered many times. I said to Ranty we'd go and do some tests, laser waving. He didn't want to be up with it. Ranty was a play from day one. Sleeping Warrior invited Ranty and Conspiracy Cats into this arena. They were both trolls before they came in here, and now look at them. Where are they? Not even Sleeping Warrior. He's not around either. Into the Break is obviously Flat Earth Society. Ranty's another one. He did just like Nathan Oakley. Didn't know how to communicate, so he just got pissed and started shouting at people. Yes, Adam. Horizontal has zero slope. We know that. That's not the problem. The problem is your inclusion of another word into the synonym. You keep forgetting it. Like, I don't know why you're doing that. We're talking about a synonym argument here, where you include flat along with level and horizontal. That has implications because level and horizontal do have, and they are in opposition to vertical. And you can have a vertical plane. There's nothing contradictory about stating a vertical plane. But if you have level, horizontal, and flat being synonyms, then it is in opposition to vertical. And you're going to struggle. But you won't have any problems with the dogmatic globe guys, because your argument is helping them. I don't think it is, Adam. I'd say the fact that vertical is not an antonym for flat would tell you that flat is not a synonym for level and horizontal. But you've got a dictionary that says it is. You've got QE, your shadow giant, that's told you that it is. I'd say it isn't. It's proved to not be a synonym. So you can tell QE and Nathan, and they'll probably say something about us being stupid or whatever, but the implications of the synonym argument that you have mean that level, mean that flat is opposed to vertical. You can't have a flat vertical plane. I don't know how many times we can say that. Yes, you can find level up a hill. You could put a line anywhere, Adam. But flat is not an orientation. It's just a bad argument. Walls can be flat into the break. That's how I would say. Therefore, level, horizontal, and flat cannot be synonyms. Because were they to be, you wouldn't be able to have a flat vertical wall, for instance. Why are you talking about slope, Adam? Hello? What are you talking about? It seems so disjointed. Keep on one argument and stop flitting about. I'm sure that's in your own head, right? This is, we were talking about this today a lot, about how the acceptance becomes hard because it's turned itself into an antinomy, and that's hard to, what does it say? It says here, a contradiction between two apparently equally valid principles. So you think they're equally valid, so it's hard to tell which one's which. It says, number 2, a fundamental and apparently unresolvable conflict or contradiction. Unresolvable, Adam, that's what you've got. This is why it's turned into an antinomy. You cannot see a way to resolve it other than to just keep saying the same thing that you've said. Like, it does say that there's synonyms in the dictionary. It does. But the implications of that mean that vertical is an antonym. If you can't see where that goes, then yeah, Adam. Well, Adam did say it's his argument, isn't he? I don't need to resolve it, Adam. I can see the contradiction. I just don't have them as synonyms. In fact, because of that, when I first came into this arena, I've never made an argument for flat. Is it perpendicular? Is what perpendicular? So disjointed, Adam. Hard to work out what you're talking about. Yes, you can have a level without a plumb. Yes. You can have a plumb without a level. Yeah. They're two different tools. You're not required to have both of them together. You have to establish level. It's not just hanging around. You can't just look at it. Use your eyes for level. That's ridiculous. Gods, it's not level. The earth isn't level. The only argument that's worth making or statement that's worth saying is that level is horizontal. That can be proved. The earth can be measured at all sorts of different elevations. Doesn't make it flat and it doesn't make it level. But level is horizontal. everybody's so keen on trying to jump into this bandwagon to join some sort of club. We just talk about reality, guys.
Can I join the Bev Club?
Wait, just join the reality club.
Morty here. Why do you think I'm the only flat earther that hangs out here? I don't get it.
It wants to be an earther. Like who isn't?
Yeah,
an
well
earther?
yeah. Right?
So why trying to put different labels on people?
Yeah,
On this thing?
no, I know. I'm not trying
It's never going to change the earth or anything. Like it is what it is already. And for you to try and put yourself in clubs, that's ridiculous.
I just wish we had more flat earthers that wanted to be realists. That's what I want.
Just talk about reality, for fuck's sake, and stop trying to join different teams. Because then you can argue about what isn't. That's the problem with these two teams. They're always arguing that the other team isn't right about what they haven't got, rather than just talking about what is. What is real? I can prove the globe dogmatic. Sorry. I can prove the dogmatic globe. And I can prove that the earth isn't flat. All positive claims. The earth isn't flat, the earth isn't level, and the earth isn't horizontal. Whether they are synonyms or not doesn't make any difference to the synonym argument. The synonym just links three words together, which links them together through a synonym, which means all of those three words are linked together through a synonym. Therefore, the antonym applies equally to all three. The antonym for horizontal and level is vertical. You're tying flat to that. Yeah, Gords, I'm with you. Like, people give everybody else the label, but that's not going to help them if you go along with that. Like, because they'll forever be giving you labels that you'll have to accept because they keep giving it you. And what happens if somebody starts saying you're a child abuser because of that label that you've already taken on? Because it's coming. These labels that people are giving you, it's for a purpose. This social credit score, it's going to be on you. There are some people who'll get credit for teaming people up. And there's some people who are allowed to do certain things that other people aren't. You know who those are. Team FPD, that's a big crew, that. There's a lot of people working for that in many different ways, in many different places. This Flat Earth Society is a massive deal because the globe's got nothing. The dogmatic globe has nothing. The only thing it has got is flat earthers to argue with. And the worse the flat earth arguments are, the easier time the globe have. Especially if you can get some flat earthers making ridiculous arguments. paralogize as much as you want. Won't work here. We just deal in reality. Keep pointing out these fallacious arguments. If anybody does want to have a discussion about them, you're free to come in. Discord's open on the level. You go to onthelevel.live. There's many links. There's one at the bottom of the video you're listening to right now. You can come straight into Discord. Give us a shout in here. We'll verify you, and then you can come in and have a chat. Always, it's probably one of the best chat rooms. Everybody here, mic control is fantastic. Regulars here, we all know how to have conversations. Yeah, Gord's, I don't want to fight with anybody, but pointing out fallacies and that needs to be discussed. It seems like, I mean, I've had it all the time, and you know, it's not just this arena. Because I don't have a model, it seems like I may be arguing, but like I don't have a position. I'm just asking questions, pointing out arguments, using logic, applying that logic to reality. And I'm thankful for all of the people that come and have conversations. You don't have to add flat to everything, Adam, right? Parallel is a definition within Euclidean. It's about straight lines on a plane. Flat's not mentioned. So parallel lines are straight lines that are lying within a plane and do not meet. Simple. You can always tell Flat Earth Society members. They have to add flat in places that it's not needed. It's a dead giveaway. Just talk about it. Right. Anybody got any final words or anything you want to say? Synonym argument. Let's get it up on screen. For
Thanks for being in reality, Bev. I appreciate you.
do you get the argument, the synonym argument, right? That
100%.
if you apply these words to the same thing, synonyms, that you're going to rely on an opposite to them. Yeah. God's,
Yeah, I understand.
in the background here, right? This sort of stuff that we've been doing, I've personally been learning how to do this. We have done a Realising Euclid test in the background. There's a lot of work gone in to a lot of geometric stuff, but we've done it for ourselves first, right? Rather than put it out and make it a big deal and sort of all of that, we wanted to make sure that we were capable of doing it ourselves and within a budget, because we want anybody to be able to do this, right? Anybody can do this. This could be done in schools to come to a realization about Euclidean principles in reality. That's what we're talking about here. So we have done tests, real tests, geometric tests. We've never really done it because we wanted to make sure what we were doing was our thing. And we are going to do this more. We're going to put it out as a proper test that other people might do, but it needs polishing up. It needs making more professional. I'm just a carer, the guy that lives, you know, look after the missus, the lad. This isn't a professional operation. I'm not like Nathan Oakley. I don't have to bring this money in. I don't have a professional operation. This is literally a little one-man operation. But luckily, with this YouTube channel, I have a lot of people around us. They support us. Thank you to everybody that does support us. But more than that, the conversations are where we learn. And that's at the heart of this Discord server. That's where all of the magic happens. So I do like to say this, right? Come into the Discord and get involved, because the learning that happens within Discord is much more than what goes on of a night time. Most of the time here, I'm left to be rambling off the top of my head. But the conversations are a lot more constructive because mainly of a morning, like a lot of time, during the day. And then it's hard for me to remember what we did during the day earlier, because there's that much stuff goes on. So much. And thank you very much, Gords. And thank you from everybody else that's looking. Oh, look, Gary Wabenga. He's a friend. There's a lot of people that do listen in the background, and I call it hate watching. Thanks, guys. Yeah, members, thank you, Gods. If anybody does want to come, have a conversation about any of this stuff, come to the Discord. And if anybody wants to do gaming with us, if anybody wants to start Arc Ascended, it's a pretty big, we've got our own server. You want to test your PC out, goes for you, Nathan Oakley. See how well it does. Test your graphics out. Looks beautiful. It's such a good game as well. Come in. This Friday is Veterans Day for the Americans, and we do have some veterans here. So we will be doing an all day gaming day for the veterans of the server. So yeah, if you want to come in and join us, we'll probably be going all day on Friday. Don't know whether we'll be coming out tomorrow or not. Let me get a Buster song ready. Anyone got any? Have we still got Rob Keane here? What do you want to hear, Rob? Give us your favourite Buster song. What's your favourite? Like we say, your favourite.
I want the triple one. The one that's 3 songs.
3?
That's the one I want.
The Earth is not flat.
Yeah. It's like 3 songs all mixed together. Yeah. The one I think you played it to start the show. Yeah.
I did. Yeah. If you want that, then we can do that. I quite like that. It's perhaps one of the best bits of work, and you'll hear contradictions within this. They are true contradictions within the flat Earth. You have to take on these contradictions. If you hold any model, you best be prepared to take on these contradictions. We all know where we live. I know my address very well, Misty. So thank you very much. Remember, the Earth's not flat, and don't take on these contradictions that people hand out to you. Be aware. Thank you very much, and we'll probably see you Friday, but it'll be an early Friday, maybe I don't know, 2 o'clock-ish daytime, time Nathan Oakley starts. But it's all right. Nathan Oakley's told you not to watch, so it won't be any of Nathan Oakley's guys. Thank you very much for watching. See you probably Friday. If the Earth is flat, then there would be no measurable change in elevation. Elevation is a measured change in the vertical axis, therefore not Q.
Therefore Earth is not flat. And in maths you can prove whatever you like. I'm saying it's not physics. That's all that I'm saying.
Yeah, so where does the proof of your flat Earth, where does that come into it?
You measure Earth as flat with a flat baseline to a ground position to start.
You can also prove a flat Earth by measuring angles. How useful for proving a flat Earth?
It's a measurement of a flat Earth. Okay, measuring things is not scientific. Yes, that's correct.
So what about the proof then, right? Does the proof of flat Earth that you have, does that lie within the bounds of science?
I will get triggered now because this is dishonest prick.
Okay, measuring things is not scientific. Yes, that's correct.
Well, I was just wondering, when you were talking about proof of your flat Earth, is that the same proof as the proof that you were talking about with Jaren in science?
I answered the first 2 times. I said no. Twice. No.
No.
Measuring things like a flat baseline to a ground position to start. That's not scientific. That's a measurement. Science establishes the cause of an effect. That's the science we deal with. We deal with natural science.
By using scientific
And while
method,
the knowledge can be put on the cover of a book as the science of ground position to start, here we specifically deal with natural
Should I show you how
science.
it's possible,
That's
mate?
the scientific method.
by using
There's the
scientific
distinction.
method to prove the Earth is flat.
And I'll agree with you. In maths, you can prove things in the maths. The maths itself is an abstract language, whereas physics, that's science and the scientific method, is dealing with the physical. It's the difference between science, physics, the physical, and maths, which
Should I
is
show
an
you how it's
abstract
possible,
language to describe things. Now, if you're saying you can prove things with maths, 1 + 1 = 2. Ground position. Proof. To start.
And you were equal to, you've had 1 plus the other one. I can accept that that's proof.
Ground position. Maths. To start. In physics, it isn't proof.
Should I show
because
you
it
how it's
isn't
possible,
physics.
mate?
Physics is the
By
physical.
using scientific method to prove the Earth
Okay,
is
again,
flat.
I can use the scientific method to prove the Earth is flat. Not the Earth is flat because of scientific method. There's a difference. Shape is not science. But I can use method, the scientific method, to show that it is flat.
Ground position. To start.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
I got your numbers right here.
Yes, that's correct.
It's just as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Sphere, not see thing.
You have to open your mind.
Flat, I see thing.
Imagination is all you need.
You do know science is also
Don't
deductible.
take advice from fools.
That is a fact.
Everything that they say is in vain.
This is a flat Earth proof. Yes, that's correct.
Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
Should I show you how it's possible, mate? By using scientific
Yes,
method
that's correct.
to prove the Earth is flat.
An Earth was proved to be flat by these measurements.
So we would assert that that average is how average the level of level is. It's flat. There it is. That's how we use it.
The deviation from that reference means it isn't flat.
Everything is relative to you.
I will get triggered now because this is dishonest
You
prick.
just have to say
Yes, that's correct.
generality.
It's a what is.
Just like those straight lines of curves.
Means it isn't flat.
Yes, that's correct.
Drive down the road, don't you ever.
The elevation changes make the Earth not flat.
Third, then, it's a stupid argument. So this is a flat Earth proof.
All of this goes.
Don't report to FED or no one. I am my own person. I am my own person.
Yes, that's correct.
Everything that they say is in
By using scientific method to prove the Earth is flat.
Never take advice from fools.
To prove the Earth is flat.
That they do is in vain.
Don't report to FED or no one. I am my own person.
What's your observed phenomenon for a flat Earth?
Did I say flat Earth was my observed phenomena, or did I say I can use scientific method to prove it's flat? Huh.
Okay, what's your observed phenomenon to prove that it's flat?
I see too far.
I know the game that you're playing.
You want to know, JC?
And I know exactly what's on your mind.
Nah, I'm just letting the FED crew know
You
that
got your playbook, it's alright.
their lapdog needs more
Your
training
model dictates what you will find.
because because you're an idiot.
I don't know
Okay, what's your observed phenomena to prove that it's flat?
where all of this goes.
I see too far. How's that?
Don't take advice from fools.
Because you're an idiot.
Everything that they say is in vain.
I'm manipulating my position.
Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
Do I manipulate my position when I manipulate my position? Do I manipulate my position when I manipulate my position?
What does your position have to do with the shape of the Earth?
You have an angle towards this.
You can also prove a flat Earth by measuring angles.
Observe, which is
How
already
useful
too far
for
to
proving a
see.
flat Earth.
Now that is scientific fact. There's no real evidence for it, but it is scientific fact.
The rebuttal is actually a straw man. And that's, why I want to clarify, because I think that's worth pointing out, that the rebuttal was a straw man. Nowhere in the argument is the words level plane even mentioned. Topography is not mentioned. And it's only about the elevation change, which is a measured change on the vertical datum. There is no conflation between baseline and topography in the argument. It's just a simple if-then argument about elevation change. And obviously the Earth is not flat because of elevation change. That's what the argument is about. I mean, we can read it out, the entire if-then, again, if it's needed.
Read me one more time, just so I can hear it again. Sorry, say it one more time.
If the Earth is flat, Pete,
Okay.
then there would be no measurable change in elevation. Q.
Okay.
Elevation is a measured change in the vertical axis, therefore not Q.
Therefore, Earth is not flat.
But the refutation to the argument being that there's some sort of conflation going on between a baseline and topography is just a straw man, because that's not the case for anybody who actually reads the argument. That's my point.
Well, it's not an argument because you're convoluting the baseline from which you will measure, which is your mean sea level. You're convoluting that with the topology you're trying to measure. So it's not an argument. Just you're misusing words.
And me stating the fact that mean sea level is a point on a vertical datum and not a level plane is just a statement of fact. Mean sea level is not a level plane, it's simply a point on a vertical datum. That's all.
Yes, but it's not a level. You don't understand that. What you just said.
Stupid non-argument, you stupid bonehead!
Okay, again, I can use the scientific method to prove the Earth is flat. Not the Earth is flat because of scientific method. There's a difference. Shape is not science, but I can use the scientific method, to show that it is flat.
Why do we have to listen to this incessant verbal diarrhea with the verbatim repetition of it? Merge it!
Just be patient, guys. It's happened before.
Well, I was just wondering, when you were talking about proof of your flat Earth, is that the same proof as the proof that you were talking about with Jared in science?
I answered the first two times. I said no. Twice.
You don't understand.
Earth is not flat.
You don't understand.
Earth is not flat.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
Where's the science for a stationary Earth? Okay, way to demonstrate that you don't understand what science is without saying you don't understand what science is. Because science deals with cause and effect relationships. Though natural science, that's the study of the physical and natural world, is what we are dealing with here on Flat Earth Debate. Now that is exclusively the singular scientific method. That is exclusively illuminating the cause of naturally occurring phenomena. So when you say, what's the science for stationary Earth?
Should I show you how it's possible, mate?
Okay. You're so used to being told that you can prove concrete nouns with science.
By using scientific method to prove the Earth is flat.
Prove concrete nouns with science, that you expect us to adhere to that non-standard.
Not the Earth is flat.
Earth is not flat.
You don't understand.
Earth is not flat.
Not the Earth is flat.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn.
Because of scientific method. Shape is not science, but I can use the scientific method to prove the Earth is flat.
You can prove concrete nouns with science, but you expect us to adhere to that non-standard. It's not a cause and effect relationship that you're asking about. So when you say flat Earth...
Should I show you how it's possible,
measuring
mate?
things is not scientific. Yes, that's correct.
By using scientific method to prove the Earth is flat.
That's not something happening. That's not an occurrence. That's not a phenomenon. You're not going to get an IVDV relationship.
Do I manipulate my position when I manipulate my position?
It's absurd to ask us for the science of flat Earth.
You can use the scientific method, to show that it is flat.
Oh, you can ask for the measurements of flat Earth, the geometry of flat Earth.
Okay, measuring things is not scientific. Yes, that's correct.
The practical application of flat Earth, you can ask for all those things and we can provide them.
You don't understand.
Earth is not flat.
Not the Earth is flat.
You don't understand.
Not the Earth is flat.
Earth is not flat.
It's not my problem if you don't want
To a ground position.
But asking for the science of a concrete noun demonstrates you don't understand what science is.
To a ground position.
No reason.
To start.
No logic.
Ground position.
No wisdom.
To start.
No worries.
It's elucidating the cause of an effect, and the effect
You're just on your own.
exclusively natural. Only natural.
Does that lie within the bounds of science?
No. Ground position. To start.
So what about the proof then, right? Does the proof of flat Earth, does that lie within the bounds of science?
No.
Well, it's not an argument because you're convoluting the baseline from which you will measure, which is your mean sea level. You're convoluting that with the topology you're trying to measure. So it's not an argument. Just you're misusing words.
What does that have to do with the shape of the Earth?
Sphere, not see thing. Flat, I see thing. I will get triggered now because he's a dishonest prick. You can use the scientific method to prove it's flat. Flat itself is not a science. You want to know how I can use science to prove it's flat? Have you ever thought of that? How do you do it?
Was that your
proof.
exit? Are you going to try and plug your shit on my channel? You
No,
stupid
why
clown?
would I want to do that?
Lost. If you're telling me you're going, I didn't thank you in return, you noticed.
Yeah. Keep watching Nathan Oakley.